Finally starting to see some rideable weather in Colorado. The sun has finally returned. In this video, I want to talk about music. Music on your bike. For many years, I rode Harleys without any speakers, and I was completely content listening to that motor sound. But one day, I got a bike with a fairing. It was the first experience I ever had with a stereo on a motorcycle. And ever since then, I've never gone back. Every motorcycle since has had a stereo system, and as I ride, I always have it on. I really enjoy riding with music. And I think many of you do as well. But this new infotainment system sure has generated a lot of questions about how to play music on these bikes. You have a couple options for listening to music on your Harley. You can pair a headset, a wireless one, and then listen to the speakers through your helmet. I like to do this during the work week when I commute to work. So I put this on and I put the news through my headset in the helmet. But on the weekends, I like to listen to the music through the speakers. So you can then change the routing from your headset to the speakers. Now, you must have a headset to use CarPlay. We've covered that on many videos on this channel, and you can use one of the headset hacks. But you have to choose helmet or the bike speakers. Your passenger can also have a headset that is paired, but the sources will be the same. So if you've got music going, you're going to hear music on both of them. And if you've got navigation prompts, you'll hear that on both of them. So one of the questions I get frequently is about routing. How do you get some things on your helmet headset and other things through the speakers? So if we go to the menu button and then up to settings, the gear icon, we can go down to sound. And in sound, the very first choice is audio routing. And if we look here, we have a choice between speakers and headset. So we have music and media and then prompts, so prompts from your navigation system. You simply tap to choose between the headset and the speakers. So if you'd like to have the music through the speakers and then the navigation prompts through the headset, you would set it up in this configuration. I get a lot of questions about this. Also, this will create issues if you have no sound at all coming from your speakers. Maybe because you have it both routed to headset instead of speakers, so no sound will come out of them. Another setting to take a look under the sound settings menu is the volume settings. So you can choose your volume settings individually by output, so speakers, rider, or passenger. So if your passenger would like the music a little less loud than you have it, you can adjust just the media for the passenger. If we go back though, and you go to speakers, you can adjust for the media and the prompts. So you can have your navigation prompts coming out your speakers at a lower volume than your stereo sound. So as you adjust the volume on the motorcycle for your sound coming out, this is actually going to scoot over and adjust it. So it is not 50% there or volume 9. It's whatever you have the volume set. But you can then set the prompts to be that much less than the music coming out of the speakers. All right, let's talk about some phone settings, things that can go wrong here. One of the most common problems I run into is not having the volume up on your phone. So that's still a thing. So if we have the volume really low on our phone and then we try to stream the music, you can hear that it's pretty quiet. So if we turn up the volume on the bike, we can see we're about halfway, but you can barely hear it. And that's because you need to turn the volume up on your phone. So the recommendation is always have the volume at maximum on your phone and then control the volume with the bike. So let's talk about another phone setting. I want to give credit to HD Rider CT. He pointed this out to me in a comment that the sound check was creating a problem with the volume on his Harley. And I had forgotten about this setting. I use my phone for streaming in a work device, and we've always turned the sound check off because it just messes with the volume. So what they're talking about on an iPhone, it's under settings, and then you go all the way down to music. And if you tap on music, there's a setting in here called Sound Check. And currently it's set to on. And if you turn that off, it will send the maximum volume of the sound to whatever Bluetooth connection you have. But with it turned on, it tries to level all of your songs. So the song that's currently on and then the next song, it tries to compare the volumes and tries to level them. So what it actually does is it lowers your volume out to your Bluetooth source, and then that gives it some room to go up or down. And this can really impact the overall volume going to your bike. One thing to call out about that sound check setting, it only impacts music being played through the Apple Music app. So if you have another sound app that you like to use, in this case maybe Amazon, so Amazon Prime Music, that setting is going to have absolutely no effect. Another setting to be concerned about is the EQ. I'll give credit to Jay at Volunteer Audio for doing the research on this one. But if you have your EQ turned on your phone, you are now changing the sound levels of the music before it goes to the bike. But on your bike, you also have an equalizer that you're probably using. So you have equalizer settings coming from your phone and equalizer settings on your bike. So the two can fight with each other. So you really want to make sure that the equalizer is turned off on your phone. And this may vary by application. So Amazon Music or Spotify may have its own equalizer settings you need to turn off. So speaking of the equalizer, this can have a big impact on the sound coming out of your speakers. So again, we'll go to the menu button, we'll go to the gear icon, and then we'll go to sound. And down here you have the equalizer. And the HD signature is generally considered to be the best equalizer setting for the bike. But as Jay at Volunteer Audio found, it really does overblow the bass. So if you've got a heavy bass song or you like a lot of bass, you're going to get a distortion through your speakers because the speakers just cannot handle it. The amp is not good enough and the speakers frankly just aren't good enough for that much bass. But this setting does pretty well, and I think many of you are using it with success. As Jay suggested, you can go down to the custom setting option and pick a custom setting. And what he's found is you really want everything set to maximum. And then you want to lower the bass. So the left two bars, you want to lower these, and that will prevent the bass from distorting. Now this is where I've landed. I didn't go all the way to maximum just because that's part of my OCD. I don't like to ever have anything in maximum, but I've raised the bass up slightly higher than where Jay had suggested, and I've been pretty happy with this overall. But the key is you can customize this, but Jay is more than correct. You cannot have the bass all the way up. You're just going to end up with distorted sound. Another sound setting to consider is the fader. So the fader allows you to determine how much music goes to the rear speakers or the front speakers, if you have rear speakers. I've really found that dead center is the best sound, but it's a personal preference. As we all know, when you get up to speed, the rear speakers really go away. So if you have this slit all the way over here, you're not going to have a great sound experience at any speed. So if you're having issue, you may want to check your fader and see if you have it in the middle. But I would say for the best sound, especially at highway speeds, you're probably going to want to move it more to the front. So below the fader, we now have speaker setup. This is new for the 23.5 owners, and maybe for some of you 24 owners that didn't have the Skyline OS update when you received your bike. So this gives us some abilities to check out the amp information as well as the speaker setup. One of the coolest things now is we can tap show info on the amp and we can see our amp software version. So you can see I'm at 1.3.80. So I'm on the current amplifier version. If yours is less than that, you should get the amp update done. And I have videos on how to do that. The speaker status will also show you what speakers you have active. And you can tap on them to get sound to make sure they're all going to the right spots. The last tab is speaker config. So this tells you you have upper fairing and then you have saddlebags, and what level of speaker do you have. So the CVO came with the stage 2. Stage 1 is the stock speakers. For the saddlebag speakers, I also have stage 2 speakers, but there's a stage 3 option, and that would be the 6x9. So currently we have 5.7 stock in a CVO. If you upgraded the 6x9s, you would change this to stage 3, and you would get a little additional sound out of it. We also have the subwoofer option, and these are where you put the subwoofer in the bag. So you have that big subwoofer that mounts in your saddlebag, and you have a left one and a right one. I don't have either, so both are grayed out. So this is a helpful little utility when troubleshooting audio issues, and I can't stress how excited I am to see the amp version finally be visible to us. The last sound setting to consider is the automatic volume control. So if we go up here, you can see I have it set to maximum. So you can lower this to off, so there is no automatic volume control or anywhere in between. So the idea behind this is at slower speeds, the bike will lower the volume of the music. And then at higher speeds, it'll raise the volume of the music. For me, this works okay, but it's not great. So I have it set to maximum, and it does adjust. But I wish that when I pulled to a light, it would really lower the volume so I'm not sharing my music with all the cars around me. But it lowers it, but not by very much. And I think this is something Harley could really improve on, especially for a motorcycle rider, that when you're sitting idle at a light, allow the volume to really drop so you're not sharing with all the friends around you. A couple of suggestions for troubleshooting a no sound condition with your bike. Either a pairing issue with your phone or CarPlay not starting. There is a couple things you can do. So if we go to settings, up to the gear icon, we can go down to system. And at the bottom of system, we have system info. First of all, under product information, it will show you your Skyline OS version. So at this time, the 22.3.7D is the current version. And if you're not at the current version, this may help a lot of the issues you're having. And of course, I have a video on how to apply these updates. But if we go back one menu, there is a factory reset option. So this will reset the infotainment system. And I have found that this is helpful, especially when you're having pairing issues with the phone. You might try factory resetting. If that doesn't work, you can always pull the main fuse. And I would pull that main fuse for a good period of time, like at least 30 minutes before you put the fuse back in and boot the bike. That is the other way to reset this system. Check out my video on the main fuse as to how to do this. Another question I received was, what about using a wired headset? So there are many fans of these original Apple earbuds. Now you can get the USB-C version of these and attempt to connect that to the USB-C port on your bike, but the bike will not recognize them. It has to be a Bluetooth headset for it to see it as a headset. So you can't use the USB-C version and plug them in. But I had a viewer commented that he took the Madehawk adapter, my original Bluetooth headset killer, and he left his wire attached, so the 3.5 millimeter. And then he got a male-to-male adapter, 3.5 millimeter, plugged that in, and then plugged his headset into the end of that cord, and voila, he's able to use his Apple earbuds. And these headset adapters do exist in many shapes and sizes. This one's from Ugreen, and it's got a 3.5 millimeter plug in it instead of the built-in wired 3.5 millimeter cable. So in this case, you could take your earbuds, plug them into the headset adapter, and then plug this into your bike with the USB-C adapter, because this is USB-A, so A to C. So you would plug that all in, and then you would have wired earbuds. So you'll send the sound to the headset adapter, which then will put it out to the headphones. One last call out here. That's a lot of cord to be dangling in the wind if you're going to use that USB-C connector. So check out my video of powering this headset adapter underneath your seat. So in this case, I'm using the heated gear, and I could plug the headset adapter in here, and then my earbuds, and then I could run those up underneath the seat to my ears. So if you're a fan of these wired earbuds, there is a way to use them on your new Harley Davidson. As always, any products I referenced in this video, I'll put links to in the description. If you purchase those, it costs you nothing, but I get a small kickback. I appreciate it. So I really hope the weather's improving in your area and you're starting to get out and ride for the summer. I know I'm excited to get out and finally put some miles on my bike. So I hope you found this information useful, and if you did, you'll go share it with someone else. But until next time, in the friction zone.